Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. We got a great show today. But before I start my show, I just want to thank John Doyle, North End High School, for allowing me to come in here doing this show for 28 years. And I'm enjoying it, meeting all kinds of people. Most important thing, I meet some of these students. Every year there's new students coming in, and you get to know these students. And it's so nice that after 3-4 years, oh, Sergeant Cisco, you remember me? I was on back at the cameras at North End High School. So it's great. Maybe that's what keeps me young for 92. But my guest today, is a county commissioner. His name is Joe Gale. And I just want to say that me, being a former boxer, I have to equate him with the fighter Rocky, because he is a battler, and he come in and he beat all odds, and he won the election and is now a county commissioner. So, sometimes I know as a former police officer, when you're a rookie, the other guys take advantage of you, But a rookie keeps battling. So that's what we have. So I'm just telling you, put your battle gear on, because my man is going to be on the offense. And if anybody don't like what he says, you have an opportunity to come here, and I want to hear your opinions, okay? But until then, sit back and listen to my man in this corner, Rocky Joe Gale. Okay.
Hank, thanks for having me on.
All right, now
Great to
you
be
are
here.
county commissioner. What made you want to be a commissioner? What kind of background you got?
Well, you talked about all the great high school students we have here behind the cameras in the operating room. 10 years ago at Plymouth White Marsh High School, I had American government, and I really enjoyed the class. I was doing well in the class, and my high school teacher said, Joe, I think if you might have a future in politics if you decided to go that route. And she said, why don't you start volunteering at the polls and going to your township meetings? So 10 years ago, I was handing out flyers on Election Day. And I started going to Plymouth Township meetings, council meetings, zoning hearing board.
Good.
And
really
found local government fascinating and how it impacts all our lives. And it kept snowballing. And here I am today as Montgomery County Commissioner.
Well, how did you get elected there? The party didn't get behind you. What happened?
No, so last year in 2015, I ran in the Republican primary. I thought the Republican Party endorsed two flawed candidates, and I think it's important to leave the selection up to the people. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to put my name on the ballot and give people a choice. And that was rare. Most people don't challenge the party establishment. But I went out grassroots and knocked on doors. I had a lot of meet and greets. And it kept building momentum.
You did it the hard way.
I did it the hard way, and people loved the fact that a young guy was interested in local government and willing to put his name out on the ballot when it wasn't popular with the establishment. And we're in that mode right now. People are tired of the status quo. They want something new and refreshing. I offered that, and the people put me in there.
Yeah. All right, now, you're a county commissioner. Tell me what the functions are for a county commissioner.
So there's 3 county commissioners, and we govern the county. It's executive and legislative. So we actually have the ability to amend law, create law, and it's also executive. We oversee the annual county budget. That's about $389 million.
Budget for all the other departments.
All the departments, from district attorney to the sheriff to the courts,
health,
to
right.
the health department, to the county prison, to the youth center.
That's a responsibility.
Yeah, there's a lot of different county departments, and we also have a seat on the county salary board along with the county controller that oversees
Well, now,
hiring.
you have 3 commissioners.
Right.
So you go in there and the table, 3 commissioners. How's it work out? You have any problems?
Sometimes I do. I'm what is described
Everybody
as...
got problems.
That's true.
But that's what a Rocky got to do. You got to keep punching. Left hook, right, up, beep, pop.
That's why people elected me, and I'm the one Republican. The other 2 are Democrats, so I'm described as the minority.
In other words, that's the government, and it has to be 2 and 1, right?
Right. By law, there has to be one of the minority party, which in this case is a Republican. So I view myself as a watchdog. Sometimes I'm the odd man out, but I was elected by the people, and I have to keep the other two in line, and it's supposed to be checks and balances. That's why they designed the government.
In a friendly way.
Yeah.
In a friendly
I'd like
way.
to think I'm friendly. Sometimes you have to stay
I know both
firm.
commissioners. I've had them on the show.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back on the show, too.
Great.
They'll, you know, and, well, when you have, sometimes I read in the paper where sometimes you're stonewalled. Now, how's that happen? Why?
So I took office in January of 2016, and now I've been in a little over 8 months. And since I started, I routinely request that the commissioner's senior staff brief me on agenda items that we vote on at our meetings prior than 1 day before our meeting. So I didn't know what we were voting on until the day before our meetings. And every month I request, can I have it 2 days in advance, 3 days in advance? Give me a little more time to digest the agenda, educate myself, because we're voting on spending tens of millions of dollars and very important issues that impact the county. But almost every time I was denied my request to have a briefing sooner.
Wait a minute. You're a party of three.
Right.
You're working for the government of Montgomery County, and you're not given the information ahead of time?
Yeah, right at the last minute. So my input wasn't being, considered. And I think being one of the three, I should have an equal seat at the table, and my input should be considered. So unfortunately, I was receiving and we'll see what happens going into the future, but a finalized agenda, meaning that they went over it with the other two, and then it's finalized when I get it. Well, I might have some ideas and suggestions that might be, beneficial. So I don't like that backroom style governance that I've been seeing since I started in January. And our last Board of Commissioners meeting, I spoke publicly about my disappointment, and I was actually told by
how do they react?
Silence at the meeting. I bring
Silence?
I bring it up, and there's just silence from the other two. I'm all for let's include everyone. Let's get public input. Let's not keep things a secret until the meeting. Let's hear from the public, because public input should be a priority.
Well, how about the people that prepare that?
The agenda.
The agenda, or whatever it is. They're just as responsible. Who's worse, the guy that does it or the guy that allows them to do it?
Well, I mean, that's like I said, every month I routinely request to have a briefing sooner. And the chief operating officer of the county used to serve as Commissioner Shapiro's campaign manager, and the deputy chief operating officer used to serve as his deputy campaign manager. So everything seems to be sometimes viewed through a political lens, when it shouldn't be that way. The politics game is over. Now we have to govern. And I'm a commissioner, and I think accommodations such as a briefing.
You got just as much power as the next.
And I think that's a reasonable request.
If you want to air it out here, it's okay. If anybody don't like it, come in.
I'm all for it.
Okay? Now,
let's air it out.
You did something else you stood up with where they added another $5 to registration, automobile registration. Who needs the money? The state, the county, what, $5 more?
Right, $5 more. So in 2013, the lawmakers in Harrisburg passed Act 89, which was commonly known as the Transportation Bill, or more commonly known as the Corbett Gas Tax. But what Act 89 did was a big push to increase infrastructure projects, fix our roads and bridges. But what was tied into that was the highest gas tax, and Pennsylvania is the highest gas tax in the whole entire nation. And that revenue is supposed to go towards fixing infrastructure. And it also had a provision that enabled the individual 67 counties throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to increase the vehicle registration fee by $5. And that $5 of revenue would be collected and go towards the county roads and bridges. But my argument was one of the core functions of government should be maintaining and fixing infrastructure. Every level of government should already be doing that with the money they receive from the public. I think we pay enough taxes, enough tolls on the turnpike and the roads and the bridges, and we already have the highest gas tax. So we don't have a revenue problem. At our last meeting, they had a big graph, and it had from 2001 to present day, all the revenue collected that goes towards infrastructure. We're at an all-time high by millions of revenue to go towards roads and bridges. So we don't have a revenue problem, we have a cost problem. And instead of solving the root of the problem and making reforms that bring the cost down, they keep going back to the public with higher taxes, higher fees. You know, they raised the county property tax this year by almost 10%. The health department had higher fee increases. Now we have higher vehicle registration fee increases. Eventually you have to say enough is enough. Let's make reforms and bring the cost down.
Right.
And I offered solutions such as a prevailing wage reform and opening.
What's that mean?
So basically, prevailing wage reform, the government has to pay a certain wage rate for all the labor involved with construction projects, public construction projects. So we'll say a laborer has to make so much per hour, an electrician, a plumber, a foreman. It's a set rate, which if you have more competition, you open the bid process to independent contractors. Maybe they can come in at a lower price. Maybe they'll work extra hours to get the project done sooner. Right now, we rely heavily on union labor. There's project labor agreements. I think if we open up that process, it'll create competition and the cost will come down, and we don't have to go back to the public for more money grabs.
Well, you know, I remember Castor was a commissioner.
Right.
He's a Republican. And he got along good with the two Democrats that are in there. And maybe because they didn't attack him because he was a ex-DA and experienced. So they figure you're a rookie, they're going to beat you up. You know. So I want to say this to the other two commissioners. Come on. Your government, work together to help us, okay? Norristown needs help. A lot of different communities in Montgomery County need help. And the commissioners should be together on that. So if you want to come in and talk about it, okay. But right now, Rockies is throwing some punches, and if you want to defend yourself, no problem.
And Hank,
now, something about this housing projects and the connection to campaign. In other words, the guy gives you some money, then he wants something, he gets something back.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
That's what's going on in the president. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the public's so frustrated with elected officials, because there's always this influence from outside interests, big donors. And I come to this, as I explained earlier in the show, the people elected me to this position. I don't owe anyone. So I think that's what we see a little difference. But every year, the county commissioners authorize funding to different housing projects.
Okay.
And it's a combination of county dollars, state dollars, federal dollars, there's tax credits. And then the housing authority determines which projects and recommend to us where we should put the dollars. Well, one project specifically stood out. It was North Hills Manor. It's a low-income housing community in Upper Dublin Township. And 44% of the county dollars allocated to the housing projects was this one community. And what it was, Hank, it was tearing down 50 units and building 50 new units with a price tag of almost $17 million. So we're not gaining any units.
17 million.
Yeah.
It's a lot of arithmetic.
Yeah, so that's about $300,000 per unit, and we're not even gaining housing units for people that need it. And to me, that really stood out because I thought, you know what, we should go back to the developer, tell him the project's out of scope, it's too costly, make revisions, and then maybe we'll consider giving money to public dollars towards the project, because right now it's too costly. And it was like talking to a wall. You know, my feedback wasn't being entertained, and I brought it up 3 times publicly. I went to a public hearing and expressed my concern. There was no revisions made, and it came up for a vote. I opposed it. And then after I opposed it, I came to learn that the developer getting this lucrative contract has been a campaign contributor for years to my 2 colleagues. And I thought, no wonder why my opinion's not being heard. There's other outside influences behind this project. And then I did some more research, because all this is public information. Here there's a history of public housing projects and campaign contributors influencing the decisions. You know, there's one Roisman Properties.
You know, I was a good friend of Frank Rizzo, and I was at the kitchen table, and he would sit back and says, follow the money.
That's right.
The guy that's giving that money, he ain't giving that money for nothing. He's giving that money because he wants something back.
Right.
So we're airing it up, what goes on in the back room. There shouldn't be any back room. It should be open for the public, everybody.
So in 2013, there was a low-income housing community in White Marsh Township. And I was looking back at old campaign finance reports. The developer at that project gave a contribution to Commissioner Shapiro of $25,000 on a Tuesday, and Thursday was awarded practically $1 million of public funding towards the project. So I mean, that's a nice deal if you're the developer.
Yeah.
You give $25,000 on Tuesday, and Thursday you get almost $1 million towards your project. I mean, to me, that's where there's smoke, there's fire. You know that term.
Right.
And I ran on ending politics as usual and exposing backroom deals and shining a light on this type of backroom dealings, and that's what I'm doing. And you know, the public really appreciates it. I get phone calls and letters, and I think we should hold our elected officials accountable.
I think when people run for office, they're a public servant. I mean, and anything that's on there is public affairs. We should know what's going on. It shouldn't be anything like that, you know. And so I don't want people to think that you're in here and that I want to be neutral in this, but I want the truth to come out. If there's any kind of problem, I want to hear it.
Right.
You know, because everybody don't read the paper, everybody don't listen to radio. So how are we going to communicate?
That's
right. They don't go to the meetings. You have a meeting, you have 15 people there. You know, maybe the only reason why they go there is to get free coffee.
No, there isn't any, actually. But, you know, our meetings are televised or live streamed to the county website, montcopa.org, and then there's a video archive.
John Doyle, that same program here.
He does a great job.
Right.
And so you can go back and watch some of the old meetings and see what's going on with county government.
Well, now, every once in a while, they try to sneak somebody in on you.
Yeah.
I read in the paper where they just hired a guy for $125,000, and they said they already the job that they hired him, they already have somebody doing almost the same thing.
Yeah, I brought that up.
So you need one chief, one lieutenant, one captain. You get a double captain, double lieutenant.
There's some
chief.
Redundancy there, right? And duplication.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, under the commissioner's department, so under my own department, they created a position. It's capital improvement projects director.
What is it?
Capital improvements director.
Capital improvement.
So he oversees construction projects in the capital budget in the county.
Is he supposed to be making money for the county?
So he's supposed to oversee the construction, and he's paid $125,000 a year. But what I didn't like about the whole process of hiring him, here he works under the commissioner's department. I didn't know they were creating the position, making a six-figure salary. You know, he's right around the corner from my office. Didn't know they created the position. I didn't interview the gentleman for that specific position. And I found out on a Friday, I received an email welcoming him to the county saying he starts Monday. So I didn't have any input. You'd think as a commissioner, I'd have input in who we hire under the commissioner's department. And then on top of all that, we already have a lucrative contract with a firm called Athenian Razak. They make almost $1.3 million a year, the contract, for consulting services related to building the new Justice Center in Norristown next to the courthouse and renovating One Montgomery Plaza. And then for each project, we have construction service managers. So to me, that's redundancy. And I wasn't involved in the process. And
well, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know,
I came out public with that too.
Hey, Josh, come on. What's the matter? Let's get together here.
Right.
Be Gumbadis here. Go ahead.
So, you know, I think as a commissioner, I should be involved with who at least is hired in our department. And, you know, this construction project with the county campus, that's a 10-year project estimated to be $273 million. And I think every step of the way, we have to be fiscally responsible. And we have to make sure, you know, this firm that's getting over $1 million a year for consulting, they keep giving contract amendments to the county. So here we are 6 months into a contract, and they give us amendments that they're doing work out of scope, and they want additional money.
Well,
and I have opposed that.
Did they ever vote with you? Did they ever vote with you?
Yeah, I mean, there's issues that it's we vote a unanimous vote.
For lollipops or something?
Yeah, not everything's controversial. There's some lollipop votes.
Let me tell you.
But
I worked for the county, and I worked when Park House was a commissioner.
Right.
Hoffel, Mario Milli, and all, and I know were a lot of. I've had them on my show back. No, I don't have. I didn't have the show in Park House, but he was a sharp. He was a sharp.
Yeah, he was there a long time.
He was in control, you know.
Right.
And
And you know, back when the Republicans were in the majority, the Democrats always complained
We're
that they were
complaining,
excluded.
yeah.
So I know going into this, I was the odd man
So
out.
it's nothing new.
But if they
It's the
complained
same
about it,
it's
doesn't.
nothing new. The different people doing the same thing.
And they should realize they didn't like it when they were in that situation,
well,
and it should
well,
be
let
an
me
open
tell you.
process.
Don't lose the fight in the dressing room.
That's right.
Get in the ring. If you win or lose, you're in the ring.
That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
Now, talking about the ring. Tomorrow night, Friday, the 30th.
You have a big day coming up.
Tell me about it.
Well, Hank, I opened up the Philadelphia Inquirer today.
Philadelphia newspaper.
Half-page article on Hank Cisco.
Oh, my God.
Of you going into the Sports Hall of Fame, the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Very well-deserved recognition, and we're
Yeah.
proud of you.
I just found out that the place is sold out. The place completely sold out.
And I'll
no
be
more
there.
tickets.
at Valley
Standing room
Forge,
only.
Valley Forge Casino. You're going to get up and give a speech.
Yeah, I got a 5-minute speech, and they told me that, you know, I like to talk. And they said they got a big hook, and that's it. And then if I go run over, the music starts playing and drowns me out. So,
I want to know, where'd you get these gloves?
oh, I got the
He's
big
over
I'm
there.
going to have them there tomorrow night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to put them on there, Rocky.
Could I bring them to my commissioner meeting? And then, I'm kidding.
I'll get a headgear for you, too.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
No, I
Hank.
really want to thank the Pennsylvania State Pennsylvania Sports
Hall of Fame.
Committee, right?
Yeah.
And they selected me, and there's going to be 9 other fellas. There will be 2 passed away, and they're going to be, what do they call it, post something, whatever, they honor them. And then I thought that was nice, you know, that they honored Joe Frazier and a lot of other big names. So I feel real honored to be part of it, you know, and a lot of my friends are going to be there. You're going to be there.
Yep.
So, my daughter Carol, it's her birthday. She was planning to go away, but she's canceled to come to on my birthday. So
Yeah, we can't miss that moment.
I'll have to sing happy birthday to her, you know.
All right.
All right, now, what's some of the things in the front burner that you like to see happen in Montgomery County? You know, you're in there, and everybody will say, boy, if I was a cop, I would do this. If I was a prisoner, I would do that. You are there. What are some of the things you think that we could do to develop the community or help Norristown?
Yeah, well, like you said, Norristown, that's our county seat. That's where we
Right.
have the courthouse and the big administrative building. That should be a focus, a priority to revitalize. And for decades, you know this because you're a longtime Norristown resident, it's been all talk, no action, and it seems like Norristown's always on the decline. But I think it has a lot of potential in the future. I mentioned the county campus plan and building a new Justice Center and reskinning One Montgomery Plaza and renovating that and the courthouse. You know, that's a big, expensive project
Right.
with public dollars. I think we have to be fiscally responsible with that. And then also, you know, we have Lafayette Street Extension and the turnpikes coming directly into Norristown. I think that's an untapped potential of the riverfront. You know, you have 2.5 miles of the Schuylkill River right there that's not developed yet.
We were losing out a lot on that. All right.
So I think we can have some improvements in Norristown.
I got a question from the audience.
Great.
Read it out and answer it.
All right. What is
Got
your
a big
advice?
audience out there, up the guy in the balcony over there, Joe Book Night is over there, and your right-hand man's over there too.
So the question is, what is your advice for people who are trying to make changes?
In government?
I'm not sure.
Politically, I guess.
Politically.
Yeah.
Changes in government politically. Well, you know, I think, you know, I come to this almost independent. I didn't have the support of the Republican Party establishment, didn't have the support of the Democrat Party. And I think that question is referring to what can we do to make changes politically. We shouldn't always have political ties to everything.
Should be, yeah.
Especially local government. These are a lot of nonpartisan issues. You know, federal government, you have issues that are more partisan. Here, it's what's best for our communities. We have 62 municipalities in Montgomery County.
52.
62. And we have
62.
we have 823,000 residents. There's a lot of people. And I think as voters, as young students here that are almost 18 and ready to vote, some of them might be voting for this exciting presidential election, you know, don't always focus on the party label. Research the candidates. see what they stand for, especially with local government.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really important. It shouldn't be what's best for the political parties.
Yeah.
It's what's best for the taxpayers. And I think if you have somebody that has the courage to be independent of the parties and they're not tied to anyone except the people, you know, take an extra closer look, because that's unique in government.
Yeah. You know, well, I think that answers that good.
I hope so. Thank you for the question.
I hope, okay,
Yeah.
up there. Gonna be another question, get it down here.
All
All right,
right.
now, how many departments? Now, we have the district attorney, and now you oversee the budget for
all those departments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And also the hiring. There's over close to 3,000 county employees. And the independent row officers, so the district attorney and the recorder of deeds and register of wills, treasurer, they hire their own employees, but we on the salary board have to approve the hires.
Right.
That and along with their budget. So here we are in the fall. The budget season's coming up, so now all these departments are coming up with their proposals for funding. And it's an exciting time. It's my first go-around with the budget.
You're keeping there punching.
Yeah.
Rocky, Joe, Gale, okay. And thank you. Our time is up. So,
All right,
ladies and
Hank.
gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to come in here and just keep bobbing and weaving. And I forgot to mention that I am the ambassador of Norristown, and I have awesome powers. So, if you get any parking tickets in Norristown, mention my name and pay the fine, okay? So until we hear from you, and you're right, you know, Cisco show, we're on YouTube now. John Doyle put about almost close to 100 shows on there. You'll see it when I had a lot of hair and all, so.
Hey, Hank, for 92, you look great.
Rocky! Ladies and
Thanks,
gentlemen,
Hank.
thank you so much. May God bless each and every one of you. Adios, amigos.